Regal Rajasthan. There's just so much to see and explore over here. And that is going to be the setting for this episode of our Great Car, Great Road. And we're starting off in front of this Grand Haveli in Fatehpur, a small town which is known for many of these beautiful old houses of the powerful who used to live here. And I'm sure those powerful would have loved a car like this if they still lived here, the Mercedes CLA 45 AMG. And we're going to head out now and find a road that does justice to this little red rocket. But before we could light the afterburners on this rocket, we had to tiptoe out of Fatehpur towards NH11. You see, Fatehpur sits pretty much halfway between Jaipur and Bikaner. From here, 173 kilometers to Bikaner are covered on a gently sweeping two-laned highway. Sounds a bit tame, doesn't it? But it isn't when you're armed with a slinky and compact Mercedes CLA 45 AMG that has 355 bhp. Sometimes you have to accept that simplicity is indeed the key to happiness. Driving in Rajasthan is just so much fun. I mean, yes, the roads are mostly well surfaced. They are straight. You can look ahead for kilometers. When you're driving a fast car like this, you can get down to being comfortable with the environment and start enjoying the drive really quickly. The stark landscape of Rajasthan was the perfect backdrop for our red rocket. I'm sure that the Autocar-bred 4-cylinder 2-litre engine was drooling over these desi roads. Once past the 3000 RPM mark, the CLA covered ground with a delicious sense of urgency. Now, I know you would imagine that for a small pocket rocket like the CLA 45 AMG, you'd want a tight winding road to drive it on. But honestly, I'd prefer a quick road with fast sweeping bends to really enjoy this car, because otherwise it tends to get a bit understeery. Instead, show it a nice wide fast corner and it just hunkers down onto the road and storms through. In my hands, the Alcantara wrapped steering wheel felt meaty, but the actual feel from the front wheels was a bit distant. Meanwhile, the race-style seats kept me well anchored, and they weren't uncomfortable either. Similarly, the firm suspension felt sporting without being jarring. Overall, the ride quality was firm but not harsh. So after I'd had my share of adrenaline, it felt quite right to slow things down and soak in the sights. Now, if you want to just cruise, the CLA 45 AMG is proving to be surprisingly enjoyable. Just about 1500 RPM, 80 kilometers an hour. Very, very nice. The only thing is, when you arrive at broken sections like this, just be a little extra careful. Not because the suspension can't take it, but because you don't have too much by way of ground clearance. Thankfully, the fun wasn't interrupted too often, so it didn't take us too long to get to Bikaner. The Mercedes CLA 45 AMG marched into the ancient city cool and collected. It hadn't missed a beat, and it felt quite happy to navigate through the crazy traffic of Bikaner. And as I drove past Junagadh, I felt certain if the Thakurs of Fatehpur would let it go, the masters of the forts of Bikaner would have swung the vast armored doors open to welcome the Mercedes CLA 45 AMG into their fold double quick.